If you're a parent that has a young child, if you hope someday to be a parent, or if you know anyone who is a parent and has young children in their house, this is a devotion that you need to hear. Because we're going to talk today on what to do with an expected death and dealing with that emotion that's there, especially from the perspective of having a young child. Because parents are faced with a pretty tough choice. When the grandparents or aunt and uncle of that little child are dying, what do? Do you allow that child to go into that hospital room and see them in that weakened state? If you've ever been there around someone who is nearing death, they don't look like themselves. Their body's sunken in. It can be scary for little kids. So what do? I stumbled across a great idea that I use with my children, and I'd love to give this idea over to you. Ask that child to have them pick out one of their favorite stuffed animals and say, this is going to be for grandpa or grandma, aunt, uncle, whoever that is that's dying, and say they need something to hold on to feel your love, because you're not going to be able to be there with them. And then you give that stuffed animal to the loved one that's in the hospital. Take a picture with them. If they're looking more like themselves, them smiling and holding it, if their body doesn't look the similar like that was before, a close-up picture here works. And then when that loved one passes, you can give that stuffed animal back to the child, along with that picture, and have them feel good that they were there with their loved one. And when the child misses that loved one, they have something tangible, something to hold on to. And you can use that as an illustration and talk to that child and say how you feel comforted by holding on to that stuffed animal, your loved one, your grandpa, your grandma, whoever it was that passed. They're held by Jesus in heaven. And give that peace back to that child of God's incredible love. How about for you? If you're there and your loved one is drawing to the close of their life, you can hear something very often that hurts you. I've been called into hospital room after hospital room by the survivor saying, fix them. They say they want to die. What's wrong with them? No, they're done. They know that their body has run out of steam and they want to rest into death and in faith be with Jesus. That's not them giving up. That's not them being suicidal. That's them showing their faith, their trust in God. Celebrate that joy, their trust in God, and have that give you encouragement. Paul talked that way. Paul talks this way in Philippians chapter 1 when he says, "For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain." He calls it gain to rest into death. 2 verses later, he says, "I am torn between the two. I desire to depart and be with Christ, which is better by far." When your loved one desires to rest into death, it's them choosing what is better by far, to be with Jesus. So encourage them to go home to Christ and have that give comfort to you that they are held by their loving Lord.